And we're joined by Luke Morley of Thunder. How are you keeping, Luke?
Good. Like everybody else in the world, but coping well. So, yeah, all good.
Good. Glad to hear it. So when this interview airs, it will be launch day for Thunder's brand new album, All the Right Noises. I've been fortunate enough to be sent the songs ahead of us talking, mate. And as a massive fan of Thunder, first of all, thank you for trusting me with those. It was a huge honour for me to have a preview listen. This is another storming album from you guys. I just feel like since Wonder Days and you guys came back with a bang with Wonder Days, that you've not only kept it at that level that Wonder Days came, but even more so, you've topped it with each album. And I think the more I listen to these tracks, I think it's going to do it again.
Well, let's hope so. I mean, I think when we came back with Wonder Days, we came back with a real sense of purpose, and both that and Rip It Up were, thoroughly enjoyable albums to make. And I think, with Please Remain Seated, we went off up the garden path a little bit, but it was something we had to do at that time, and we thoroughly enjoyed doing that, and the seated tour that went with it. It was a nice aside, if you like. But I think doing that and then the greatest hits thing coming basically gave us a lot of pent up rock and roll energy coming into this one, and it was a bit of a perfect storm in that there were so many great things to write songs about. So
yeah,
all good.
I was going to say, we've obviously, from Please Remain Seated, did you think that sort of but exercised the sort of more acoustic-y side of things, and that's why this album is more of a wall-to-wall bangers, as it were?
I guess. I mean, it's hard to sort of, for 30 years is a long time. It's a long time for Thunder, and in that period, we've always kind of followed our instincts. Because before that we didn't, and it didn't get us anywhere. So as soon as we started doing what we wanted to do, we found that we became successful. So, and we always trusted our own radar, really. And like I said, with Please Remain Seated, we knew that we liked it, and we had a great time doing it. We weren't sure what regular Thunder listeners would make of it, but fortunately, most of them got it. So great. On you go. Next album, okay, right. Let's make a rock album. And like I said, there's so much subject matter that was suitable for a kind of an angry-ish rock and roll album. So as the person that writes the songs, I didn't have to look too far for inspiration, which was great.
Am I right in thinking that this album was recorded before the lockdown, though, and then it was obviously...
Yeah, this is pre-COVID. The last session on the album was in January 2020, so and then it went off to get mixed, and we literally got the mixes back at the start of March, which is when all this started, really.
Yeah. So you managed to record it the proper way of all being in the same building, sort of thing, rather than having...
Yeah. I mean, I think we would have done that anyway. I mean, we did actually reconvene in July last year to record, because we needed to generate some extra content for this kind of extended version of the album. So we did reconvene at Rockfield Studios and recorded basically most of the album, but live with guest musicians and stuff. And so we did get together and play. I mean, I think, whatever it takes. I mean, we would have, had it been during COVID, we'd have all got ourselves tested and done the isolation thing and done all that. Because I think with the band, you can't record remotely. I mean, with some projects you can, with dance music and stuff, it all works because it's all kind of it's all digital anyway. But there's so much of what we do is organic that to do it without the other guys in the room wouldn't be right.
Yeah, just have that, like you say, that vibe that you guys all have between you and feeding off that. You can't get that no matter what filter anyone puts.
Sure,
yeah. So, are there any songs other than the two singles, Last One Out, Turn Out the Lights, and Gain Sin City, that you're particularly excited for people to hear and gain people's opinion on, or you just...
I think all I can tell you is that the songs that I guess we were kind of important in the making of the album. The first one that springs to mind is Destruction. It was the first song I wrote for the album, and it's probably the heaviest thing Thunder have ever done in lots of ways, and it's quite dark. I mean, lyrically, it's about the darker aspects of the human mind and depression. Mental illness, if you like, that kind of area. I mean, fortunately, it's not something that I've had to battle with, but I know quite a few people that have. So kind of exploring that, from the anecdotal stuff that I'd heard was quite interesting. And musically, it's odd as well, because normally you expect the chorus of a Thunder song to be with a kind of, good, clear, strong melody. And this isn't. It's just a bloody great guitar riff. The vocal kind of works around it. Also, because of the keying of the song, it's taken Danny down in a baritone area, which is not normally what he does. So he enjoyed that challenge, and yeah, we've come out with something which is quite an unusual track. And all I can tell you that is it's fantastic to play live. Like I said, we've not done it at a gig yet.
Yeah.
Although we are doing a stream gig next week. We'll come to that. Yeah. So we have actually played it as a band, and it is amazing. And I can't wait to get it in front of people and play it. So that song sticks out. Also, probably. What else? Smoking Gun as well for me is an important song, purely from a kind of songwritery point of view. I guess in that it's sort of addressing the rise of populism, and it makes the point that perhaps we're all a little bit guilty. I mean, there's a fantastic quote by Edmund Burke, who was a sort of 18th century philosopher, and he said that I'm sure you probably heard this before. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil men is when good men do nothing. And and looking at people like Farage and Trump and those kind of guys, it kind of raked all that up for me. And I just thought, well, Hitler, it's the same thing. We need to kind of stand up to these people. They're all bullies. And I guess the song makes the point that if we don't, then we're all guilty.
I guess that one particularly, Smoking Gun particularly, when I was listening to the tracks, it kind of reminded me of like a kind of sister to The Rain from Wonder Days. It had that kind of similar vibe that The Rain did for me when I first heard that. Yeah,
I mean, with Smoking Gun, to sort of help the atmosphere, I tried imagine Donald Trump riding into town, a bit like Clint Eastwood in Pale Rider when he rides into town, and they all think they need him, and then he takes over the town, kills loads of people, and then they realise he's out of control. It's just very similar to the Trump thing.
Very, very similar.
So that's why there's a kind of wind and the sort of tumbleweed noises going on in that track.
Now, you touched on it briefly there, mate, but like you say, on the 13th of this month, you're doing an online showcase for the album. Do you want to tell people about that?
Yeah, I mean, basically, over the last year, we've had quite a lot of offers to do stream shows, but we never really felt comfortable with any of them, or any of the sort of approaches we had from a technical level, because obviously we've watched other people do it, and sometimes it doesn't sound so good, the visuals aren't so good, and we didn't want to do the kind of knee slapping in the kitchen type thing. You can't really do that with a rock band, and particularly as this album was such a kind of out and out full band thing, we thought the only way we can do this is if we can find a mechanism by which we can do it full on as a band, no holds, without holding anything back. And fortunately, a good mate of mine, there's a guy called Tim Sidwell. Tim filmed us at Cardiff Arena a few years ago for a DVD, and he approached us and said, "Look, I've got this thing going. This other guy, it's a big sound stage and a lighting warehouse. We think it would be great, and it's all going to work technically." So we asked him a load of very kind of searching technical questions, which he answered, obviously to our satisfaction. So we agreed to do it, and then started thinking about how we would do it, because the problem is if you remove the audience from a Thunder gig, it's not really a Thunder gig anymore. So we thought, well, we can't really go out there and pretend there's an audience because everybody knows there isn't. So we have to kind of approach it maybe more like, the old Grey Whistle Test or Jules Holland, or something where it's music being played in a, remotely in a studio that people are watching via, television or Zoom or whatever it is. So that's what we try to do. And then we actually got the fan club, a couple of hundred of them actually tuned in via Zoom and watched us do some of it in real time. And that was kind of weird. So we had them on big screens all around the room, and it was very strange. It's like you could see them all jumping up and down and singing along at home, but of course we couldn't hear them, so it was a bit odd. But just seeing them there was great. It felt as close as it could feel to being a gig, I guess, without actually being a gig. So anyway, the resulting footage and everything goes out in a sort of we've called it All the Right Noises TV special, because it isn't really a gig, but we'll be playing lots of stuff from the new album and a few sort of oldies, a few classic oldies as well. Goes out 13th, 7 o'clock, and it's going to be up there for 48 hours before it gets taken down. But just go to our website or Facebook page and it'll tell you how to get on.
Oh, sweet. Like you say, there's been a lot of those gigs, and some, like you say, some have been more successful than others. Probably the one I enjoyed, well, one of the ones I enjoyed the most was actually friends of yours. Well, that's how I got into them. With you, they were supporting you, Captain Space. Their one was brilliant. But like you say, it's trying to find that balance of admitting it's not, like you say, it's not a live gig because there's not the audience there, and as much as I'm always one of the ones standing in the crowd, not on the stage. It's it's never the same. I should imagine for you being on stage performing at these venues with.
No, so I mean, well, if you've seen Thunder before, you know well we like the audience to be very involved in the show and to get involved, and you take that away from what we do, it's never going to be as good. So that's why like I said, we agonised over doing this, but I think we've sort of found the right solution.
Yeah. So will you be playing the album in its whole, or are you just playing a selection from?
Yeah, that would certainly be most of the album. It's still got to be edited. That's going on at the moment. Film's being edited and the sound's being mixed. So yeah, basically, that's the intention, is to have as much of the new album as possible, but also we want to have some oldies in there as well for, just because we've not played them for so long.
So speaking of live shows, obviously you've just moved the tour to May next year now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I bet you can't wait to get out on that road, mate.
Well, I suppose all musicians at the moment have been through this kind of colossal frustration, and it's the uncertainty of it that's the worst thing. I mean, not knowing when you can get back out there and do it. I mean, it's amazing. I was thinking the other day that I think this is the longest I've gone without actually doing a show since I was probably 13.
Wow.
So, and that's a lot of years. So, yeah, it's been tough. But when you actually look at it, stand back with full perspective glasses on, and you realise that, some people, it's been costing them a lot more than frustration, their lives and their livelihoods and stuff. And, for us, it's just been a pain in the arse more than anything. But the rollout of the vaccination seems like a very positive thing. And providing everything goes according to plan, then when we do get out next year, the roof will come off. So, that's a wonderful thing. And I look forward to it massively.
I'm sure they will. I mean, obviously you got yourselves as well, but with Ugly Kid Joe, a band I absolutely love. So with them and the bands that you've got opening in each date, I do a charity gig. I host a charity gig every year. Last done London since 2015. I lost my dad to cancer, and it's all for the hospital and all that. Actually, I've got to thank you guys when I'm talking to you, because I made contact a few years ago, and as long as the gig itself, there's an auction side to it, and you very kindly sent some Thunder Rare CDs and stuff that we auctioned off, and raised a lot of funds. So thank you while we're talking. But yeah, we've got those Damn Crows. We've got headlining this year. We've also got Piston on the bill, and we've I was about to say last year then, but no gigs happened last year. 2019, we had Massive Wagons headline, so I know a few of the bands on the bill quite well. So I can't wait for that, mate. I'm coming down to the London show, so that's going to be good. There's got Chris Barras on the London one, isn't it?
I can't remember. Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna. I can't wait. Like I say, I've had my tickets a while, but it's going to be worth the wait, mate. I can't wait for everyone else. I'm just waiting for live music to return.
For sure, yeah.
So during lockdown, I did want to. There's a lot of projects during the lockdown, because you say a lot of musicians haven't obviously not been touring and had that time. Was there ever any talk of doing anything with the Union again? I mean, I love that when you did those albums with the Union. I didn't know if that was.
No, I mean, to be honest with you, despite the fact that we couldn't gig, there was still quite a lot going on behind the scenes, the preparation of album artwork, and discussions about how we were going to do things. So it's quite busy. I mean, things with the Union is that we, at the time we stopped, it was never supposed to be more than one album. The Union. It was just,
right.
So Pete and I, known each other a long time, and it was like, well, it came at a time when Thunder had stopped and he wasn't doing anything. So why don't we make an album? So that was how it started, and it turned into 3 albums in 4 years, which was sort of never the intention, really. I mean, Pete, I think, should be and always has been a solo artist, really. I mean, I know he's been in bands and stuff, but and he's a massive talent, and I've known him since he was very, very young. So it was always I always thought we should have gone in that direction. So yeah, I mean, we made three albums, enjoyed it, and then Thunder just kind of took off again, and you can't control Thunder. It's like a huge beast. the guys in Thunder, you know, we're really great friends, have been for years since we were kids.
Of course.
And it's very difficult to resist it when it calls, you know. So, you know, but you can't do it part-time. It's a full-time job, particularly for me, because, you know, I've got to write the music. So doing anything else at the same time wasn't really an option. I mean, during the course of the last year with COVID and everything, I mean, I've got a lot of writing done, kept myself fit, just, you know, and kept sort of moving forward. So who knows? Some of those songs might well end up on the next Thunder album. We'll see.
Oh, nice. And of course, during the period as well, you worked with Ricky Warwick on his last solo album, which I got the other day. It's a fantastic record.
Yeah, it's a good album. I've known Ricky a long time. So I got a call asking if I would stand in with Black Star Riders when they were in South America, and they were kind of between guitar players.
Oh, okay.
They wanted somebody temporarily to come in.
I think I remember reading about this. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously I've known Ricky years. I know Scott really well. I play golf with Scott quite regularly. So I got a call saying, look, you know, I don't know if you're busy, but if you're not, do you want to come down to South America for a couple of weeks and do this show? So I thought, well, yeah, sort of. I've not been there for like 20 odd years, so definitely. Yeah. So, and it was lovely because we spent. I think it wasn't exactly a punishing schedule. I think it was 6 shows in 14 days or something. And
nice.
From Chile, Brazil, Argentina, and you know, and it was great. It was just lovely to hang out with them and play all those great, you know, sort of some great Black Star songs. But you know, playing Boys Are Back in Town with Scott Gorham.
That's got to be pretty magical.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good. You know, so that was great fun, and it was just lovely to hang out with them. Both such really, really, really nice guys. And so thereafter, when I got back, Ricky said, "Oh, I'm making this album. Will you play guitar on it?" I said, "Yeah, sure, send it over." So there we go.
Yeah, no, that was one of the other albums I've bought recently. Fantastic record. I love Ricky Warwick bits. But so it's hardly a tricky year to make plans. But what does the rest of the year hold for Thunder, other than the stream shows and obviously prepping for the tour next year?
Well, that's a good question, and I can't answer it because the thing is that with the latest kind of government pronouncement about June 21, or you know, June 21 being the last day of lockdown, and then after that everything is going to kind of lurch back to normal. I don't know how that's going to affect our business. I really don't know. I mean, at the moment, the next shows we're going to play are next May. So, yeah. But I suppose once you know if the goalposts move as massively as everything opening up in June, then anything is possible. So, you know, obviously we're keen with a new album to get out there and play. So, who knows? We shall be poised and coiled like a very coiled thing, waiting to spring into action if we need to. So that's all I can tell you. There's nothing definite. So
no, but definitely I'd say with the charity show that I do, like last year we ended up doing a kind of online show. Bands were filming footage for us, and we had that on social medias and streaming services, and had online donations to the charity that way. And I'll be honest, a couple of weeks ago I was starting to prep for that again. Odd shows at the end of July, and then obviously getting told that, I was sort of like, okay, and then ended up going back to the venue, speaking with them, speaking with agents, and booking where everybody was sitting. And fingers crossed, June is the date, because it killed me not doing it last year. Last year was 10 years for my dad, so I really wanted it to happen last year. But like you say, we've just got to wait and see on that one, and keep our fingers crossed. So at the beginning of the interview, we're going to play Going to Sin City. But what song from the album would you like us to play at the end of the interview?
Oh, what about Destruction? Because I talked so much about it earlier.
Yeah, let's go with that. I'm up for that. Cool. All right, cheers for this, Luke, mate. It's been a pleasure.
You're very welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, mate.
No problem.